Hey YouTube, it's Don here. Just want to give you guys a friendly comparison of that Civilian Force Arms Xena 15 Gen 4 and my Wasser. To make it simpler, M4 AK. I'm coming from 8 years Marine Corps infantry experience, multiple combat deployments to Fallujah or Al Anbar province of Iraq between '05 and '07 with 2.7. My thoughts. I think it's pretty dumb that people try to compare these two rifles because they're they're there for the same reason, but they're still so different. Different caliber, different tolerances, just different everything. I mean, if I had to compare anything, I'd compare an AK-74 to an M4 or an M16. The 545 by 39 does a lot of the same things that the 556 does, and it is more accurate out of that AK platform than a AK-47 bullet. So when I like to think of it as I kind of put the 74 and the M4 together, and like the AK would be more like, I don't know, I guess an American 30-30. And because they have a lot of the same characteristics as far as flight and damage and stuff like that. But to get back on track, just to give you a quick introduction of my roommate's M4 or AR-15 carbine, whatever you want to call it. It's a Civilian Force Arms, like I said. He's as of right now just running the Spark 2 Red Dot, and he's shooting amazing groups at 100 yards. And he's a pretty novice shooter when it comes to rifles. He's not a very good shot with my AK. I mean, he can hit stuff, but it's not very consistent. And the AK, you just need to understand how that rifle fires, how it fires with different loads in it, different brands of bullets. I kind of was pleasantly / unpleasantly surprised when I was shooting tool ammo compared to Golden Tiger and Hornady, and it was just interesting to see the different ways that rifle shoots different bullets. So, but to get back on subject, the 5.56, we all know, yes, is more accurate. But in the recent videos I've been watching with like Jim Fuller and his team and what they're doing with Travis Haley and their longer range AK, I mean, they're getting consistent hits out to like 800 yards with that rifle. And it's that 7.62 by 39 still hitting as hard as, a bullet coming, a 230 grain bullet coming out of a 45 pistol. So pretty sure last time I checked, a 45 will kill you. So I'm not 100% on what the 5.56 would do at 800 yards. I'd like to think it probably is going to be a little less out of a 16-inch barrel. I mean, if you're making shots at that range with a 16-inch barrel, I mean, that's impressive in itself. Obviously, if I was going to do that, I'd want like a 20-inch barrel or maybe a 24-inch barrel with a heavier 5.56 bullet, like a 77 grain or something, or just get a 308. I mean, if you're going to be shooting past 500 yards, I mean, you might as well just go get a 308 or 7.62 by 54R. I mean, these guns are mid-range guns. I mean, their wheelhouse really is, like, I would say for both of them, 0 to 400 yards. I mean, that's like their happy place. Anything from 0 to 400 yards is really where both of these rifles will shine, and they won't disappoint you. They're very different. Different tolerances. They run different. The 5.56 mostly was a more modular, more easy to upgrade type rifle, but the AK is definitely making its strong run and becoming more, I guess, more diverse in what you can do with it. So obviously you can see this Wasser is pretty modified. Like I said, my roommate's rifle is pretty stock. He is going to do a trigger, probably a new flash hider, probably some new iron sights, and then that's probably about it. And he's completely happy with that rifle, and especially with what he paid for it. I mean, his next option was a Colt 6920, and that was $400 more than what he paid for that rifle, and that's a true mil spec rifle. Civilian Force Arms, if you guys don't know, is owned by an Army veteran, and he obviously knew what he was doing. And as a Marine combat veteran, I would have no problem taking either one of these over to the sandbox and playing with them. So I have all the confidence in the world that both of these rifles will do what I need them to do when the time comes. But for, a shit hits the fan or something crazy here like in America, if I had to pick a rifle, I mean, like I said, I think either one of these choices would be a good one. There's plenty of 5.56 rolling around. There's plenty of 7.62 by 39 rolling around. My next choice would probably be a 308. So that's, something to consider. 308's not cheap. And I, had a 308. I had a PTR 91, and I liked it. It wasn't a bad rifle. I really got tired of paying an arm and a leg to, be able to shoot it. So I got rid of it and did my research and found this AK and bought it quickly. And, about a month after that, my roommate bought his AR, and we've just been going to the range. Nothing crazy. I don't have any doubt in my mind that if I took one of these rifles to Valor Ridge or James Yeager's course or, whoever else is running courses, I would not have any concern with either one of these rifles to finish the course with no problem. I could be wrong, but we've all seen what Rob Ski's done to the Wasser, and it still was doing everything it was supposed to. So, and the Civilian Force Arms, I've heard nothing but good things about it. But to get back on track, do I think there's a better rifle sitting in front of me? No, I don't. I think the only thing that I can really say is the AK does edge ahead of the M4 as far as firepower, because the 7.62 by 39 does hit harder out to, I'd say, at least 300 yards. I mean, the AK, like I said, is really good at turning cover into concealment. Cover meaning bullets can't pass through it. Concealment meaning they can't see you, but they can still shoot you. So that's something to think about. But honestly, with a few minor modifications, the AK is a pretty soft shooting rifle. You can put a nice brake on it, a nice Wolf spring, maybe a Tapco buffer, and it's definitely fairly close to a 5.56 shooting a heavier grain bullet, but still the 5.56 is a softer shooting rifle, especially if you get it in a gas piston system. That is a direct impingement system. Civilian Force Arms, I don't think there's a difference. Maybe the gas piston system runs a little cleaner, but let's be honest here. If you're not properly maintaining your rifles, you're wrong anyway. I mean, yeah, some guys will say, I've shot like this many rounds through it and, never even cleaned it. Well, okay, that's great, but I mean, you're just adding wear and tear to the rifle because you're not taking care of it. So if you want it to do what it's intended to do, then you should probably maintain it. Regardless of whether it's an AK or an AR variant rifle. You should or a shotgun or a pistol, you should always keep your weapons in a high state of police, meaning you should maintain your rifle as if like you would maintain your car, if not even more, because when shit goes wrong, that is what's going to save your life. And for some of us, we know that very closely, and that's something we hold near and dear to our hearts because we've experienced that. So, other than that, I mean, really, either way, 5.56 or 7.62 by 39 is going to kill you just as easy. I mean, there's really, the wound channels might be a little different, whatever, but like I said, 0 to 300 yards and I would even push it out to 400, maybe even 500, depending on what kind of shooter you are. You will have no problem neutralizing whatever you're shooting at. So just a little food for thought. Again, I'm not, a special forces Marine. I'm not anything special. I'm just a regular grunt who has shot a lot of bullets out of that AR variant style rifle, and obviously shooting a lot of the 760 by 39, being that is my main rifle that I go to. We all have our opinions and we all want to think one's better than the other, but push come to shove, you put them side by side and you'd be impressed, especially if you had, a good AK shooter or just a good all around shooter pick up both rifles. I'm sure he'd probably impress, those people that want to hate on the AK for their lack of accuracy. Just to give you a quick story, I guess, I was seeing very accurate fire in the Zidon coming from AKs and with iron sights. So, and those probably were not the nicest AKs. They probably didn't have any lube in them. They probably been buried 100 different times, and they're putting those rounds right where they wanted to. So that's something to think about. Again, I truly believe that if you do your part, the rifle will do its part, meaning you apply good fundamentals of marksmanship and the rifle is going to do its job. So other than that, YouTube, I wish you well in your hunt for the perfect rifle, which doesn't exist, but maybe your rifle is your perfect rifle, and I think that that's what you should be focused on. If you really want to get into shooting and running and gunning at some of these shooting academies or whatever, hey, by all means. I fortunately was with the best of the best, being in the Marine Corps, and got to do that for a living. So I can only say what I know, and obviously I'm not going to bash anybody else. I do see some pretty funny videos though of people actually trying to compare the two, which some are just more or less neutral, but there are some that you can tell favor one over the other, and that's fine, but that's their own opinion. Don't let other people tell you what you should get. You should just do your best to try to shoot both of these rifles as much as you can and make your own educated decision on what fits you best, because that is what's going to be deadlier. You being more comfortable with whatever rifle you want and getting to be consistent with it and being able to shoot it under duress or stress and being able to eliminate the threat. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter whether it's an AK or an AR. They both will do their job if you do yours. That being said, Semper Fi, stay safe and make sure you know those safety rules, and make sure that you pay attention on the range. Take care.